live to eat, not eat to live.
Yeah.
But we're here to engage people, and we keep people happy, healthy, and active. And so, with that structured daily program, we also have nurses on staff, so we're able to help individuals across any diagnosis really that you could think of, whether it be a cognitive impairment or dementia.
Hey guys, this is Matt Helton with OneTrust Home Loans, your reverse mortgage experts, and you found the Serving Senior podcast. This is the podcast where I highlight those businesses and those individuals that help seniors not just get by, not just survive, but thrive in retirement. And today we have another one of those awesome guests. We have Bill Zagorski. He is the CEO of American Senior Care Centers, and he actually runs a program for seniors that's quite unique, that a lot of you may or may not know about, but I wanted to share with you how it works, why he does what he does, and how he serves seniors at such a high level. Bill, how are you doing today?
I can't complain. Thanks for having me here, Matt. Happy to be here and share a little story.
Thank you for being here. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to butcher your last name so you could fix it right here at the beginning of the podcast. So how do we say it?
It's Bill Zagorski, and trust me, I've been it's been that way since long before I was born. So happy to have it butchered. It just makes it more
fun. I'm sure if I call you Bill Z or Bill Zag, I would not be the first or the last.
Not at all. Not at all.
Well, man, thank you for being here, and thank you for serving seniors. I think what we'd like to do, if you could, is maybe share with us, Bill, how you got into this, maybe what you've done in the past, maybe give us some background where you're from, and let's take it from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And so thanks again for having me. Long storied history, we probably need about 30, 40 minutes just to go through where I came from. Long story short, my parents started our company in 1991. My grandmother had been in a social model, actually had been in assisted living in Chicago before she moved here with us, had attended a social model day program. My father had been with HCA in the 80s before we started our company. And then my grandmother progressed to needing more assistance than in social model programs allowed. And so they started in 1991 as the first medical model day program. I was very young at the time. I had no really plans of staying in Nashville, but I am that unicorn originally from Nashville.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I moved away to Ohio, had a great time in college. Started off in med school, left med school, went back into research. Did mostly cancer research and virology research, and honestly, I got tired of writing grants about 15 years ago, and moved back home. Moved back in 2011. And we had been open for 20 years. We had our adult day program in Nashville. We did a lot of non-medical home care, and then since then, I've opened a second and third location. We actually do business as Centennial Adultcare Center as our adult day centers for Nashville, Murfreesboro, Mount Juliet, and serve the surrounding community. And if I had finished off that human cloning project, then I'd probably have 100 locations.
Oh, there you go.
Don't have the time and the energy yet. So
that's great, man. Now, where'd you go to school at?
I went to Xavier University in Cincinnati.
Okay, nice.
And then worked at University of Cincinnati College of Medicine for better part of 10 years. So.
Okay, nice. You make it back up there at all?
I was just up there this past weekend. My wife's entire family is from Cincinnati. It was very unfamiliar to me at first, but I fell in love with it, and it's still very much my second home. Most of my friends and spent years playing rugby and had a lot of family and friends up there, so it's still where much of my heart resides.
That's awesome. Now, if I've heard or know about rugby, it's basically like a young man's slow pitch softball based on the before and after game activities. Is that accurate?
That yes and no. It's elegant violence, as they would say. But a very long rule book. I played for the better part of 20 years, and now I actually coach a middle school team. And then one of my oldest sons plays in high school right now. My two younger ones play for me. So it's great to see it grow. It was just in the Olympics this past couple of days.
Sure.
The men's team didn't make it very far, but the women's team is in the quarterfinals later this week. So I love to see the sport grow.
Wow. Tough guy sport. And it sounds, I've always noticed that it looked like they fight on the field as much. Then after the game, they're all friends, right? Everybody.
Absolutely. Elegant violence, enemies on the pitch, and best friends afterwards.
That's great, man. Well, you look good. I don't see too many broken noses there in your past.
It's a little crooked, and I'll try not to hold my hands or arms up too much, but but yeah, there's definitely a few pieces of metal through my body. But luckily, I mean, it's, I played football and everything growing up, and I didn't actually have my first concussion playing rugby until after I retired, almost 20 years into it. So it looks dangerous, but you're playing 80 minutes. It's, what do they say? It's, soccer is 80 minutes pretending to be injured, and rugby is 80 minutes pretending not to be injured. So
that's awesome. I hadn't heard of that. That completely makes sense. That's great, man. Well, we're glad you moved back to Nashville and took over the family business. It sounds like you guys have been doing great. Maybe, Bill, if you could share with us, like what a typical client is for you guys, and maybe even an example so people could kind of figure out what is this program of a typical client, maybe some clients that you've met. They weren't doing that great, or maybe they weren't having that much fun in retirement, and that you were able to bring them into your environment and how it helped them would be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And adult day services is in general this huge breadth of services. And really the common factor is that it's for people that can't stay at home safely by themselves. So it not only helps the person that attends the programs, and of course their caregivers as well. True. It's regulated differently in every single state. So you have hundreds of different models. I run the Tennessee State Association of Adult Day Services. I'm also the board chair for the National Adult Day Services Association. But in Tennessee, you have both kind of social model programs and medical model programs. Some cater to a very specific demographic. Some are open. We're actually age and diagnosis agnostic. So we have individuals as young as 18, as old as 111 was our oldest, and everywhere in between. Right. But again, we serve any individual that can't stay at home safely. There are very good assisted livings. There's very good skilled nursing facilities, but adult day services gives you a lot more freedom and a lot lower costs. Really, we provide that structured daily environment to keep people engaged physically, socially, cognitively, and plenty of meals. If anyone's ever seen me, I don't miss a meal.
Okay, got it.
So, we live to eat, not eat to live. Yeah. But we're here to engage people, and we keep people happy, healthy, and active. And so, with that structured daily program, we also have nurses on staff, so we're able to help individuals across any diagnosis really that you could think of, whether it be a cognitive impairment or dementia, stroke survivors, things like that, and also keep them healthy from a medical standpoint, as well as healthy from a cognitive and social standpoint. Social isolation and depression is not geriatric depression is now the second leading cause of death in the United States for individuals over the age of 80, and it's been equated to smoking 15 cigarettes a day for 10 years. So you remove individuals from that isolating environment in a social environment with their peers, plus the supported activities to keep them engaged and allow them to experience a day to the best of their ability. And you keep people happy and healthy. And therefore, the caregivers continue to be involved in the community. Some are still working. Some are happily retired themselves. Some volunteer. Some just getting stuff done around the house. So, it's really, we call them members at our centers just because they're members of my very large and dysfunctional family. And we just try to keep the family growing.
That is so cool, man. That's great. And now and how's it work? Do you have people are driving themselves, they're dropped off by their family, you guys have buses, I guess? How do people get there? And then also too, are the people that are with you the same type of people that really can't stay alone? Is that the main thing? They can't stay by themselves safely? Is that 90% of your clientele?
Yeah, 90+%. And we're a medical model, so we generally have a higher acuity member. We do have some members with very early dementia, very early cognitive impairment, or some physical impairment that really are here more for the socialization. But we also have individuals with very advanced dementia. The overwhelming majority of our members have kind of early to mid-stage dementia into late stage, as well as physical disabilities. So we do have a number of vans that we operate. We work with a lot of other providers, at paratransit and non-emergency medical transportation. There really isn't yes is the answer. So if family members do drop people off, we try to be very amenable to what's available and what works for members. And there's no hourly rate. It's a per day rate. So it's whatever works for an individual. If you want to come early, then come early. If you want to come late, then come late.
Okay.
We try to be as amendable as possible.
That's great. Yeah. So I was just over at I did sponsored bingo at the Lebanon Senior.
Right.
Those were all senior center. Those were all people that mostly drove themselves or were dropped off, can take care of themselves. They were there just to get out and have some lunch, but they all cognitively they were in pretty good shape. So this would be the stage past that, right?
Past it. Yep, absolutely. So when you're self-initiating individuals, use the senior center. They're very inexpensive. They're great, engaging, great social environments. And there are, there's social model programs. 50 Forward runs some social model programs in some of their senior centers. Then that's really an even earlier entry for us. So very much social-based adult day services associated in Nashville and Williamson County. And we work back and forth. We refer back and forth to individuals to 50 Forward quite a bit. Georgina's a wonderful person to work with. Again, it's because if it's somebody that is really early, really early cognitive impairment, they may not feel comfortable around individuals that have more advanced dementia or more advanced physical disabilities. And so if it's easier for someone to attend a 50 Forward program, then that's where we refer them. And the same way, when somebody's chronic condition progresses to where they need medication administration or incontinence care, they'll refer to us, because that's just part of what we do on a daily basis. Respect and dignity, but still allowing that assistance with activities too.
That's great. Well, Bill, a lot of our listeners are in the senior services world. So I guess if someone's listening to this and maybe they don't have good context for you, but what are the types of businesses they should forward this to that are really good referral sources for you, like in-home care companies or medical facilities, or what's been some good content?
We do a lot of post-acute discharge. So a lot of work with social workers, rehab facilities. It's been pretty well documented in the medical literature that adult day services can reduce hospital readmissions, reduce geriatric depression. So a lot of the medical aspect of it. We do a small amount of home care services, but we refer to other home care agencies too. And the same thing, when if somebody needs a few hours of help in the home in the morning to get ready, and then are able to use adult day services, it's half the rate of home care services. We refer back and forth to home health organizations and PT, OT, speech, rehab, post-acute discharge, social work. We're a large VA provider. So the VA is a provider of adult day services. So any veteran that was discharged with a general or honorable discharge and has a cognitive diagnosis or needs help with one or two activities of daily living is eligible for adult day healthcare services through their social work benefit, not even their medical benefit. We're a choices provider with Medicaid. We have a lot of private pay members because our private rates are still under half of what home care rates are. So it's affordable even for middle and lower income individuals. We're a large provider with our AAA, our agency Aging on Disability, GNRC. They operate the Family Caregiver Support Program. So individuals who are not eligible for Medicaid, for TennCare, are eligible for this organization. And it's a non-means tested program. So it doesn't matter their wealth and income. They're still eligible for some respite services through GNRC. So we have a huge, breadth of payers, and we're a longitudinal provider. So we keep people engaged and happy and healthy. An average length of stay for us is, 2 to 5 years. I've had members that attended of our program for over 25 years. So it's not a quick one and done. We really form relationships and keep people happy and healthy for the remainder of their lives.
Okay. And it sounds like from what you mentioned about could be a good partnership, could be maybe either the family takes care of them the evenings overnight, or maybe they bring a partnership with being an in-home care company may stay with them overnight, but they can't afford 24/7. So they bring them to you during the day. What is your normal hours?
We're open 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. So,
7 to 5.
Working caregivers, it really makes that difference. But yeah, you're right. That partnership with home care for nights or mornings and weekends, or partnerships with home health agencies that someone comes out of rehab and still might have wound care or PT. And we're actually starting to launch PT, OT, and speech therapy services in all of our centers too.
Wow. So they can, while they're there, get their therapy.
Yeah, absolutely. So
that's fantastic.
Try to be a comprehensive provider and a really value-based provider too.
Sounds like a great option. Bill, could you share where are your facilities located? And if someone would like to learn more about you guys, how is the best way to get in touch with you?
Absolutely. So our centers are in South Nashville, right off the corner of 8th and Wedgwood. We have one in Murfreesboro, just off the corner of Northfield and Memorial, and then another one in Mount Juliet, just off the corner of Lebanon Road and North Mount Juliet Road. All three of our centers operate as Centennial Adultcare Center. You can find us online at www.centennialadultcare.com. We're on Facebook. Each of our three centers has them. All of our centers are there. My main phone number in Nashville is 615-298-3399. We can get you all the other centers, and my email is really long when it's William.Zagorski at Centennial Adult Care. So that's one to put in links. It's too long to even speak out. So
I'm gonna recommend changing your email to Bill Z. That might be.
It's a great idea. Yeah, absolutely. We won't come up with the rugby nicknames.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing. Well, maybe before we run, Bill, any resources that you recommend? Say it's a family member struggling with someone starting to go through cognitive challenges, any resources that you send people to so they can learn more about diagnoses, et cetera?
Absolutely. We work with our area agency on aging and disability a lot, and that's gnrc.org. They have a number of resources. We have a lot of organizational partners. Alzheimer's Tennessee is an organization that works with individuals with cognitive diagnoses across the state. I wish I had more time to go down the list, but the Veterans Administration, and there's a lot of other organizations. There's a Senior Service Network in the Mid-South and a number of geriatric case management organizations. But I don't have enough time in the day to list them all. And then from the Adult Day Services standpoint, there's the Tennessee Association, it's TADS.net, and our national association is NADSA.org. And happy to be a resource to any individual out there. If it's not Adult Day Services that somebody needs, we'll make sure that we get them connected to the right person too, because it's not for everybody, but we'll make sure that everybody gets the help they need.
That's great, man. That's awesome. Well, Bill, I know that you've every time I mention your name, I always hear great things about you. You have some awesome qualities. I guess maybe give us what you think what's your superpower that allows you to serve these seniors and allows you to get all this stuff done in a normal day.
I don't know if it's OCD or just passion, but either way, it's trite to say that you never work a day in your life when you love what you do, and I absolutely love everything I do. I don't necessarily have the energy of a young man anymore, but there is never a day in my life in the past 15 years that I've woken up and not looked forward to going to work. There's challenges that come up, whether running a business and association, but I love it. Maybe I'm a glutton for punishment, but I love it.
That's awesome. Well, if you had to choose between all the other qualities and superpowers, if you could just pick one and you could pick passion, I think you're going to go a long way. So I think you've got the right one, man. That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome, Bill. Well, man, thank you for doing this, and thank you for what you do for seniors, man. We really appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, and thank you for everything that you do too, Matt. It's really a pleasure to be here and to share.
You're welcome, Bill. Anything that I didn't ask you that I should have?
You'll have to ask me tomorrow. So.
Okay. That sounds awesome, man. Thank you for being here, sir. We really appreciate it. Thanks so much for your time. And thank you for watching the Serving Senior podcast, where we highlight these awesome individuals like Bill that serve seniors at such a high level. Thanks again. We'll see you on the next episode. Talk to you soon. Hey, this is Matt Helton with OneTrust Home Loans, home of Retirement Mortgage Solutions. And we really do appreciate you checking out the Serving Seniors podcast today. Now, please go to the description down in the body of the podcast where you can subscribe to get future shows. Please click that notification button so you get notified when other shows drop. And also, if you can go to servingseniorspodcast.com, and we'd love to hear a comment about our show. We have a heart to serve seniors, and we have a heart to make sure seniors don't just survive retirement, don't just get by in retirement. We want to show seniors how to thrive in retirement. So if you know of anyone that's 55 and older that could use some extra cash flow, maybe the retirement's not going the way that they like, our retirement mortgage solutions are designed for folks, and depending on the state, they're either 55 or 62 and older, to make sure that they have that kind of retirement that they want
as long as they own a home and they're in a good equity position, there could be some solutions that they may not have thought about, or maybe they've thought of and they just didn't know how they work. That's what we do. So anyone in that age group that could use some mortgage advice, my team and I would love to be able to help them. Thanks again, and look forward to seeing you on the next show. Have a great day.